parents are very strict. Where are you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?
That's what you do, isn't it?
Sup?
Hey.
Hey.
We're back again. Tonight, we've got Isaac Cullen with us to interview.
Yeah. Sector.
Thanks for coming.
Yep, you're welcome.
Glad you could finish work early tonight and you're interested in being here and you made the effort.
You're welcome.
So big ups to you. Obviously you're not
I'm
Sack.
not Sack Dog.
So we've had to we've had to change our plan and
Slightly improvise.
yeah, so it was overdue that I think we talked to you about your involvement. Stop reading my questions, please.
Just getting a precursor of what I'm going to answer.
In the scene and the stuff that you do and you've done, and so yeah.
You have moved those questions very far away.
I have. So I wrote them all out. Do we need to say anything else? Why we've been away, or
We've just been busy with life.
yeah,
We are still doing this cave crew thing too. Like, it's still our intention
yeah,
to
and
interview people.
he's constantly making plans and thinking about things. I don't know how you fit it in, but you do because you've got lots of other stuff going on.
A few things.
Some
a few
of it-
irons in the fire.
Yeah, some of it we'll probably talk about,
Mm.
but yeah, it's been kind of hard to find time, and I hate doing. And we did one with Grant here,
Yeah.
and it was really nice to be in person with people. And now I'm kind of don't want to go back to doing it on a screen, but if we have to, we will. But it's just about finding the time and stuff like that. So
It was quite nice apart from the microphone issue, and I've double checked the microphone, it's going.
only going to happen once.
Yeah.
So,
It is very weird doing a Shodcast episode on me though, so it is going to be a bit different.
yeah, but I mean, it had to happen, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because obviously you're a big part of New Zealand rollerblading, and you always have been for a long time. So I'm trying to think of an example where this kind of thing would have happened. Is it like a documentary about David Attenborough? Or maybe that's not a good example. But anyway, it had to happen. So
Okay, well, we'll do it and it'll be interesting, and please watch it.
yeah,
Tell your friends.
I'm sure people will watch it. But again, this is the question that we've always asked: like, do people actually watch these? Like, is there must be some kind of interest? We're not obviously reaching out to thousands of viewers, but as interesting enough for us to do. So I assume that some people would be interested in it.
Well, we were stoked that we got 100 views on one of our videos.
Yeah. Some of them were pushing more than that, weren't they?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's Brandon that's winning or if it's Calvin.
Yeah, I can't
Brandon
remember.
has the biggest reach, but
Yeah.
Calvin might be winning.
Okay, so
But we are going to be doing SAC too at some stage.
hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah.
If we could ever get him to sit still for long enough with a shirt on.
Yeah,
Or a shirt off.
there's still actually a lot of people that we would be interested to do an interview with. But some of the ones that are remaining now are like the hardest to
The elusive
pin
ones.
down. Yeah. Not that they don't want to. Well, not all of them, but it's just time and place kind of thing, isn't it? So I wrote a question. It wasn't really a question. Well, it was going to be a question, and it was way down the list of questions. But then I realised it probably needed to go at the top of the list.
Okay.
So, and then when I finished writing it, I realised it's not really a question, but it's just a comment. So, I'm sure you understand we didn't mean any harm, but I feel like we really owe you a collective apology for all the shit we've given you over the years. It kind
It's an interesting way to start.
yeah, but it seemed to set the tone for the rest of it. So, and all of that shit giving sort of started as because of like your insane clumsiness and the weird stuff that you've always done.
Yeah.
And you still do.
Yeah.
And
I don't talk for the sake of talking. There's a whole range of things.
Yeah. But
I grew into myself.
Well, yeah. But time has proven that you're pretty direct and you focused on what you've had going on and where you were going, despite our continual verbal barrage and assault on you. So yeah, this isn't really a question, but it's kind of like a marker for people that don't really comprehend how down to earth and honest your love for the scene and for blading has been, and for the people that you know and that you hang out with. So it's kind of an apology and a pat on the back as well. So
cheers.
Thank you. So
the only thing that probably went too far is the banana under the liner. Everything else
wasn't there meat under the liner at some
Yeah,
stage?
there was ham under the liner at one point. But I drew the line at the banana because it was real squishy. At least ham would come out in a solid collection. The banana was just too far.
Perhaps what I should have done, and I might have needed help because my memory's not that great, is to write down all of the things that I can think of that we did, because there's a lot of stuff.
There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And we do have to mention boxes, but that was...
Laxatives.
They didn't work.
They didn't work, but it was a thought that counted.
The laxative one actually was quite good. Well, not good, but we were just about to board an intercity bus back to Hamilton with no toilet on board.
So if it had worked...
It would have been disastrous
for
everyone.
Really effective.
Yeah.
So explain your beginnings in roller sports, and did Jane and Martin approve of what happened?
Jane and Martin, my parents, have always approved of what I've done. Actually, probably not always. But yes, so I started skateboarding first at like 4 or 5. I got given I was real pissed off because all I wanted was a Santa Cruz board with slime ball wheels, and they gave me a Batman board.
It's pretty ambitious for your first skateboard.
Well, I had another little shittier one, but I had my sights set on this board because that's what my neighbour had. So I got given a skateboard. I didn't like it, but my neighbour was really nice and he was older than me, so he gave me some better wheels. And then I skateboarded a little bit, could drop in on some vert ramps because we had a local one at Porter Hire.
So you went straight to dropping on vert ramps, or?
No, he had a little jump ramp by the school, so we skated off the jump ramp and then progressed up to, they had a mini ramp there and then a vert.
Right.
But then kind of not fell out of love for it, but was playing football, but I'd just do that part-time. And then
where was the mini ramp?
At Porter Hire. You know where Inter-Alpa Stray?
Yeah.
They had Porter where they used to have...
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so we used to walk all the way through the back of Puketi to get to it, and they had it in the back of a yard.
Oh, right.
The person's dad who owned Porter had built him a ramp, and heaps of kids would go. All the kids from Puketi would go.
This is like 1985.
Yeah, 86. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, did that, and then I roller skated a lot as well, just at Skate World, which was in Hamilton.
Where the Meteor is now.
Yeah, where the Meteor is, yeah. So
Yeah.
I did that a lot. And my cousin came over in 1992, and he's from Australia. He lived in Canberra, and he had some rollerblades, and I'd never seen them before. And they had some ramps at Skate World, and he tried to go off the ramp, and I could see what he was trying to do, and I thought I could do that one better, just on these shitty old high roller skates.
Right, yeah, they did. I remember they had high roller skates, 1/4 pipe, I remember.
Yeah, and a little wedge takeoff. So I think I tried to front flip on that because I was quite handy at flipping. Landed on my ass and thought, hey, I want to get what my cousin's got. And he let me have one quick go, and they were 2 sizes too small and 3 wheels and purple.
Just jam your feet in.
I did, yeah. And so then my brother's birthday came before mine, and he's 2 years younger than me and was a lot smaller at the time. And so he got rollerblades and I didn't. Oh. Because it was his birthday.
Right.
So I had to wait till Christmas. And so he started using those, and then every opportunity I would have, I would take them out and use them myself.
So Rory got a 2-year start on you?
Well, no, he got a couple of months.
Couple of months, sorry, yeah.
So, because I got mine in December, and he got his in September.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
That's all good. So yeah, he got his, then I got mine, and then I had a group of mates at Rollerblade as well. Like Ryan Bennett, who was a mate of mine,
Yep, I remember that. I remember that name.
Kevin, I can't remember his last name. Not Batten. Anyway, there was a Kevin at my school, and there was Doug Mackey as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us started rollerblading, kind of all at the same time. And then shortly after Roller Force opened, and that became kind of the mecca for skating for us. And we had a little jump ramp at school too, so we'd go out every lunchtime and try to show off to the girls, not that they were ever impressed, and do our stupid Smith grabs and...
So you didn't really... you skateboarded for maybe a little bit when you were very young.
Yeah, I think I'd kind of stopped at about 8, maybe.
Never when you really...
Not really...
Never knew, like, this is a cool thing to do. Like,
No.
it was just a thing.
It was just
a
a thing.
little toy.
Yeah.
Right.
I was horrendously bad too. Like, I had no style, I hadn't grown into my body.
But that was your introduction into it anyway.
Yeah, and I would absolutely throw myself off stuff with no
Yeah.
knee pads and get covered in bruises and scabs, and yeah, I just hucked everything, which kind of became the trend of my skating, really.
Yeah, well, it's funny how you learn, or how I guess anyone learns to do, like, what to do. You know, like, how do you know to, like, unless you were, did you see people skating? Did you see people skateboarding, or did you see...
I just saw my neighbour.
Yeah, that
So
was
my
it.
neighbour was 13 at the time when I was, 5. His sister would babysit us, and he was the cool kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, used to watch him. And there was, before Roller Force actually, there was we did a trip. Barbara organised it. I don't know how I got involved, but down to Rotorua.
Right.
They had a skate park, I can't remember what it was called, in central Rotorua in an old warehouse. And I just remember it because it had this spine ramp that went up, and one side of it went up the back of the vert ramp, and then a vert ramp behind. And so that was kind of the first time I got to see proper people ride a ramp.
On ramps. Right. Yeah.
And that was Bentley and Stacey.
You went and you saw them there?
Yeah, so
Right.
we all jumped on a bus. There was maybe 30 of us going down to Rotorua
Right.
before Roller Force. And
Before Roller Force.
this was the precursor to Barbara and Noel starting Roller Force.
Starting the park.
Yeah,
Right.
and I just remember coming home real late. It was real dark on the bus, and I was real young. I think, I was 12 and a half, 13. Rory was with me as well, and he was a little shit at 11. And almost felt like the bus was going to roll going down through some of those corners at night. But it was amazing to watch those guys skate.
So what did you get for your first pair of skates, or your second, or even third?
So my first pair of skates, I'd almost say they're Rory's because I stole his so much. But my first official pair was a pair of California Pros. They had purple wheels. I was really, again, annoyed at my parents, just like the skateboard, but they bought me the ones with no buckles. It was laces all the way.
Laces.
Yeah, like,
Hockey skates.
basically. It was like a purple cuff, pink cuff, because it fluoro was everything. Like, I even had a yellow golf ball-like helmet that I used to wear.
Right, of course.
And it had bright green fluorescent laces as well that would lace all the way up. So no buckles.
Yeah, nice. And then after that?
After that, I think I got hold of a pair of Lightnings.
Yeah.
Before Lightning TRS.
Yeah.
I had the full black set of Lightning.
Yeah.
And then into Lightning TRS.
Imagine if you still had a pair.
I don't have anything.
Of unused ones.
I wish I had half the stuff I used to have.
Yeah, I always think about that. Like when you show me those stickers today, I thought, imagine if we just kept one of everything that we had. People like Scott must think that all the time. Or like any...
Well, Scott's probably
pro.
got bags and bags of shit.
Maybe. He did tell me once, I think we talked about this, that he's got... We're kind of diverging, but he told me that there's packages sent from companies that I mean, Customs probably still doesn't have them anymore, but they never got them.
Yeah.
So they tried to get them into the country and they never received them. Like bags of probably wheels, t-shirts, stickers, maybe even skates for him.
They got caught in Customs.
Yeah. That was interesting. So I wrote down, was Rory competitive with you? Because when Roller Force opened, that's when I mean, I assume that's when you really started to, try to learn stuff.
Yeah, there was a spine ramp there It was only 3 sheets wide,
I remember.
so it wasn't very wide, and
Yeah.
there wasn't anything street related because no one could grind anything.
No, there was
No
a
one
small. There was a
grinding.
reasonably small vert. I
Oh, I
remember.
think that came a little bit later.
Right?
Yeah. So that was, I don't know what was sat around the back, but they had the snowball, which is where the lights would go off and you'd dance around. In the dark.
Yeah. Skate the other way.
Yeah, and they had all sorts of stupid games. where
Walls
you'd
and
skate,
chairs.
Yeah, skate from one side to the other
Yeah.
as fast as you could.
Yeah. Break your wrists on the concrete wall.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
just slam into the wall. So there was that, and then it was just skating the ramp as often as I could.
Mm.
So I think I'd go there on a Saturday and I'd stay there all day, go there all day Sunday.
Mm.
And then during the week, we would hit our ramp at school.
Mm.
And then I eventually got hold of a little weird quarter pipe jump ramp deal.
Mm.
And the neighbours across the road, they were almost absent, and I used to have it pulled up so I could go off onto their grass, so I could try stuff and
Flips to the lawn.
pretty much.
Yeah, sweet.
But I was already pretty handy on the tramp by then, and I learned how to flip off my roof at my parents' house, and
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun.
So, because I remember meeting you at Rollerforce, and I guess even a little bit of street skating around like Phuket before I started going skating with you guys in town. So, did you skate anywhere else before Rollerforce, other than your street?
My street, and then probably Phuket Primary School.
Yep.
They had a couple of, they had a weird set of 4 timber stairs and
Yeah.
a set of two set of stairs as well, and so I just used to jump the little stairs there.
Yeah.
Phuket, the Māori name is Little Hill, which runs through the middle of Phuket, but the rest of it's pretty flat. So most of it was just flat. So yeah, it was only just manufactured stages and stairs at the school that I used to jump.
And then they started building a lot more ramps at Rollerforce, and they had like club night. Did they already have a club night? I'm sure they remember they had like club night, or that you could pay to be in like a member there. I remember.
Yeah.
And there was late night sessions there. I remember as well.
And then I used to play hockey there too, so we were.
You got involved in hockey as well.
Yeah. So it was me and Rory playing hockey in the same team. We only had enough for one set of juniors.
Right.
And I was so lame. I couldn't really find many hockey sticks, or couldn't find anything. So I had a broomstick with a hockey end, which really set me apart from the crowd.
Yeah.
With my fluorescent helmet.
Yeah. That kid.
And my horrible skates. Yeah. And I think I'd gotten into Origin shorts by then.
Yeah. If you were pretty stylish, you might have. Yeah. So you actually got. I'll just read the question. Why did you end up becoming what I thought of as a vert skater around that time?
So because there was no real street skating then when I first started, so I just liked hanging out the transition and riding over the spine, and as geeky as this makes me, I just enjoyed skating. So a lot of my friends then were getting interested in girls, and the snowball became a real big thing, skating around a circle with whoever the girl was at the time. And I just wanted to skate, so I just kept skating, and then around that time there was also a vert ramp that popped up at Fitzroy Falls. Right. And when that opened, then Rollerforce then built a small 3 sheet wide vert ramp, which wasn't really a vert. It was maybe 9 foot.
Yeah, I remember it being about 9.
Real kinky, and it was probably about yay far off the wall.
Yeah.
And the wall had columns in it as well. So if you travelled too far, you could land in the gap.
So sketchy.
And if you travelled too far the other way, there was a gap for the barrier before the roller rink section.
Yeah, I
so
remember
it was basically just a death trap, but I used to love skating that. So I just started enjoying that. And we had the nationals there. The first competition I was going to go, I competed in the regionals in Hamilton, which had the Rotorua guys as well. And they'd been riding ramps for a lot longer. And then that qualified for us for the Paraparam Nationals. and I was such a noob, I just played hockey because I didn't qualify for anything else. So Rory had qualified for the regionals in his age group, but I hadn't in mine.
You didn't try, or you just...
I didn't qualify.
Right, okay.
So then I kind of just fixated on, I want to qualify next time, right?
Right. So not many people actually know like how much you were into vert, because you were actually like pretty heavily into it for a while. Like you
didn't skate anything but.
Yeah, I remember like there was a point in time where you were doing 720s.
Yeah.
You could do like full on inverts, like everything, really well. And you sort of fell in, as far as I know, with Tash and Scott, and started hanging out with maybe Tash first
Probably-
more than anyone. Like
probably
what happened?
Tash
What
first.
was the story with all that?
Well, Tash was... Tash just wanted to skate vert, and that was her primary focus. So she used to be at the ramp, the same ramp I was.
At Tirapa.
At Tirapa, yeah. And I was there from... My parents would drop me off at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they'd pick me up at 5, and I
Yeah.
was there all day.
Ever swim?
Oh, no. Just skated.
Yeah.
Just sat out in the hot sun with
Yeah.
my suntan lotion,
Yeah.
just skating. No,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
even remember if I drank water. Occasionally we'd go down the road and get some ham and chicken luncheon from the supermarket and just eat that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was skating a lot of it, and so was I. And so we started hanging out together.
It was a pretty good ramp. It was a pretty big ramp,
It
wasn't
was
it?
a real big ramp, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really, really wide. Had
Yeah.
a nice channel in the middle of it. There's a photo of it in Daily Bread, where Scott's doing that weird mute grab. He used to grab the inside of his boot.
Yeah.
So she was there all the time. And so then she started like dropping me off and picking me up, and I think she came on a family holiday with us once as well. And so then we started going to other ramps. I think we went to Taronga a few times. She'd come over and pick me up. And I was just fully focused on just nothing but vert. And so was she, and she helped me out, taught me heaps. Used to give me guidance on what I was doing wrong, like when I used to do forwards fives, I used to almost tip forward a bit, and so my re-entry was always a bit sketchy, like I'd always come down toes first heading towards the top.
Right.
So she kind of helped me navigate a lot of the nuances of what I was doing wrong. Even things like I used to fish brain the other way, and she just kept watching me do it and just saying, hey, you're doing this the wrong way, why don't you try that? So yeah, she was super, super helpful.
Yeah, and the reason, well, it's not just the only reason I asked the question, is because lots of people weren't into it then. You know,
No.
like you would have been one of the very few people that actually went and skated that ramp. I know Tim used to skate it a bit, but never session it and go there all the time. So
Well, I think a lot of what I used to see is a lot of guys would come in the morning, skate it, and then everyone would skate off into town.
yeah, right, yeah,
And they'd go and skate whatever street. Not
Yeah.
that there was much then. I think there was a lot of car park bombing, and
yeah,
I just wasn't interested in that because I had some Cosmo flywheels, and it was
Right,
my
yeah.
pride purchase. My parents had bought me,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I upgraded my skates by then, and I did not want to fuck those wheels.
yeah.
I'm like, these are my vert wheels. These are staying prestige and like in premium condition.
So, but it didn't carry on, did it? Like you sort of eventually, you didn't really naturally moved away from vert
No,
because.
I don't know if I naturally moved away from vert. There came a point where there wasn't a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
I was going to the ramp by myself.
Yeah,
It was just me and Tash. And then our crew became bigger because we started, I remember she used to drive us up to Auckland, and we started skating more and more and more stuff.
yeah,
And so then I started skating street more.
yeah.
I started enjoying doing rails, but still skating vert. So I almost skated both. And I think that kind of was not the 1995 Nationals, which was in Napier in a woolshed. I
Right.
skated the street as well as the vert. In my age group, I won the vert and didn't do particularly well in the street, but I just thought I want to try to do better at that.
Yeah, yeah. So it was where you were as well, as much as anything.
Yeah.
Who you were travelling with and stuff like that.
Because I'd still come to Roller Force and hang out with everyone,
Yeah,
and I think it was 94
yeah,
when you had your, was it Pantera shirt and your beanie on, skateboarding,
yeah,
and then after that you picked up skates and
Yeah,
we became
yeah.
we weren't friendly at first because I think I was going out with the girl that you liked.
Oh, maybe.
Was it Claire Goldsworthy?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the Rollerforce kind of started to get more ramps around that time as well.
They did, yeah. There was a grind box, which started off as like without a grind box edge. It was like up across and
there were two of them. You could put them together.
And it was
there?
only like
yeah,
150 mil off the ground.
it was small.
And people used to do heel toes across it as part of their run, thinking they were cool.
Yeah, and then they got the fun box in the middle.
Yeah,
which just got absolutely session.
It did, yeah.
And it's kind of responsible for a lot of people from Hamilton being as good as they were, I think.
Yeah, well, that kind of stage, like Hamilton had rules.
Mm-hmm.
So your rules had to be you had to land the trick 3 times in a row, otherwise it didn't count. And then after you landed it natural, you had to go and try it switch. And it wasn't like you had to wait for a bit before you tried it switch. You had to do it immediately.
Yeah.
And I don't know who enforced those rules.
No. Well, I wrote down here that if you're anything like me, you probably have some really great memories of the early Hamilton scene. How did it shape the rest of your skating life? And who were you close with then?
I think... who was I close? Well, it was really it was Tim and you.
Yeah.
There was Tim and you. We had Rob Ting.
There was already a
Jamie
crew.
Ord.
Like, I'm not trying to bring it back to when I got involved, but there was already a big crew of you guys before then. You guys all seemed pretty tight. Like
I was kind of on the outer because I was the vert dude though.
Right. Yep.
So I had my crew that I went to school with that skated.
Yep.
And then they started to drop off over time. Whether they got kicked out of school or just started doing other things. And then, so I was still skating vert with Tash, then started skating street with what was already established crew.
Yeah.
Because that was really like Tim, Bubsy.
Yeah.
I think you were involved in that, Jamie Ord.
The Mickelsons.
Yeah, the Mickelsons. I actually skated street first and started doing more stuff with the Mickelsons.
Yeah. Before
I got introduced to the overall group.
Yeah.
John really kind of dictated the terms.
Yeah, right.
In a lot of cases, he was this giant with his long blonde hair. Remember?
Yeah, and he had I remember he always had all the vids.
Yeah.
He had a really good rail at his property.
Yeah, so it was a good rail.
Yeah.
And so
it was him, John and Ben, or was it brothers and Daniel?
Yeah.
Daniel Mickelson.
And then there was it Toby Guy was his mate as well?
I do remember
the Māori guy. Yeah. So we all just used to skate at John Mickelson's house as well, just skate that rail.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey Lee.
Yeah. So there were all those people there.
Well, that was a different crew to the core crew that was Tim and Bubsy in there.
It sort of was.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw it like that, but they were all definitely were like all Rollerforce posse to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like all of those people and your involvement with them. How did that kind of shape what happened towards the end of Rollerforce? Or what happened? How did that shape things for you in general? Like your skating or your sort of your movements in New Zealand.
Well, I guess I just went with the flow with all those various groups of people. I was just happy to skate anything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to skate. Like I didn't live close to anyone.
Yeah.
I lived the furthest north of anyone. Not that Hamilton's far from anything. Like it takes 10 minutes to drive from one side to the other. But
remember that most people weren't driving then either.
So I was either biking somewhere.
Yeah. Or even skating there.
Yeah, I probably skated less. I biked more. Like I remember biking to your house quite often.
Yeah, right.
And then even once Rollerforce closed, there was Melville, the first iteration of Melville Skate Park, and my grandparents lived above it. So even the first bowl, like I was skating there. Whenever my parents would go see my grandparents, or I'd go there on the weekend, I'd just go down the road and ride the bowl.
See, it's strange. I don't actually remember clearly Rollerforce closing.
No, I can't remember it closing either. I faintly remember another iteration of a version of it, but
again, we're kind of sidetracking, but what was the time span between that closing and Defy opening? Because that was really the next thing, wasn't it?
Well,
like Isaac opened Defy, didn't he? At the base.
I almost feel like Rollerforce went to the base and then it became Defy afterwards.
Is that what happened?
That's what I kind of feel, but it's my memory's a bit hazy.
Yeah.
Defy was awesome though.
Yeah.
Defy effectively made us all the rollerbladers we were.
Well, that's kind of why I asked the question, because it seemed to carry on from what Rollerforce had already started.
It almost stepped up another level.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know how he managed to... So, Isaac was a skateboarder.
Started a skate shop.
Started a skate shop after that. But he almost took the ramps in a different direction. So, you know, he created this channel ramp that linked into the mini ramp. Then there was, a weird wall ride into another mini ramp, which formed into a launch ramp, and then there were high rails and these big high quarters that was able to do my vert tricks on. And he'd almost taken stuff that was in ASAs almost and built it in New Zealand, in Hamilton, in the old Air Force Base hangar. But it wasn't suited to skateboarding, it was suited to rollerblading.
It was strange. It was a strange kind of setup.
And I don't know where he got his inspiration or his direction from, but all of a sudden these ramps were there. And each week there'd be a different obstacle to a point where it plateaued.
Yeah.
And he was so rad because he gave me keys and it was down the road from my house.
Yeah.
So I would ride there all the time.
And then after that, do you remember, it went to Frankton?
Yeah, for a little while, yeah.
And then it was far more a skateboarding course.
It was, yeah. All those big ramps had gone.
Yeah.
But this is jumping ahead a lot.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So, when did you start getting... When did you start getting free stuff and how?
So you and me went to Australia with Emma to compete in a international inline skate series event on IIS, whatever.
Melbourne.
Yeah, which is an offshoot of NIS.
Yeah.
So that was Melbourne at the Sale Yards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we decided to go there, but I think I was 17 and a half. I'd worked all summer. I had a bit of money from breaking my leg the first time. From ACC.
It must have been something you suggested.
Possibly, yeah, because I read every single magazine.
Yeah.
I had my daily breads on order from the magazine shop in town.
Yeah.
So I consumed everything. And my parents consumed it all with me.
Provided it all. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have a whole lot of money being one of four kids, but, you know, they splurged and got me rise above clothing and...
Yeah.
I got right into it, and so we went there. I think I was really annoyed at you at the time because you can compete in the open division with all the pros, or you compete in the junior, and junior was like 15 and under, and you were 16, and you'd somehow conned your way in, and I thought that was so unfair.
Oh, I can't remember. That,
yeah,
that's good.
But I never told you at the time.
Yeah,
but it was me, you, Emma, and your mum. And
that's right. Yeah.
And again, I'm talking about you, but I was amazed that you went over there with just a backpack and a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. And you went for 7 days, I think. And then I took over 3 pairs of skates, I think, because I was going to skate vert as well. And then I stayed for another 2 weeks after that, I think. Right. But anyway.
Yeah, you did. You stayed on. I remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, went over there, skated the street course.
Yeah.
I think we'd skated beforehand at the Sale Yards before everyone else turned up. I'd broken that big plate glass window at Hungry Jack's, walking up the stairs with my skates on, and then ran away because it was in the toilet.
Again, there's the clumsiness.
And then there was heaps of stories from that because there was some of the Australian guys. Remember they called my fishbone a far side marquee, and I got really pissed off.
Yep.
And then skated. I had 2 claims to fame that event. One was Fabiola grabbed my belt to lift herself up the ramp because she almost fell over.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's because I cut her off.
Remember that well.
I do. I was so excited.
Yeah.
And then the other one was my second trick in my run. I fell off the side of the ramp and landed on my head.
Oh, so I don't remember. Maybe there's footage of it somewhere.
Oh, holy doubt it.
Yeah.
I was trying to gap between the 2 quarters and I was doing a switchback slide. And I fell off the end. And I just remember Scott Crawford coming over and picking me up and saying, "Are you alright?" And then I finished my run and did my second one and did far better.
Yep.
But yeah, I was still pissed off at you for getting in the juniors.
I think the only thing I really remember about that is we looked at the results at the end and it was something like 30th or
I
something.
think I came 38.
Yes, something like that.
I was like, yes, I got 38. But we...
I don't think there was ever an expectation, but
No.
it was just good to be there and do that. I think we didn't meet them, but I remember seeing Josh Clark skate there and just being like, way out of our depth.
Oh,
way out of our depth.
But we skated with those Tasmanian guys. We skated street, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And they were actually super impressive
Yeah.
because we were already doing talks downstairs and doing all sorts of stuff, and they hadn't grasped that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, so skating there.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor was over there for no other reason but to get drunk, I think. And he said, "Oh, do you want to ride for Rollerblade?"
Right.
And I said yes.
Yep.
So that's when the free stuff started. There was a bit of a story to that as well, because there was originally a street skating session in Auckland that we got asked to go on, and it was all about sponsorship. And I think we went to there, we skated in it, but he offered the sponsorship to James Beagley instead.
Oh, right. Who didn't James end up getting stuff through Shiloh from Roshi?
He did, yeah, but then Aaron offered him a rollerblade one.
Right, okay.
And I think Grant ended up getting rollerblade then.
And that was at a time when it came with you were contracted to the van and demos.
Yeah. We only ever did 2 demos though. I did the one, well, jump ramp demos. It was the one at Wendy's in Mount Wellington.
Right.
We had to flip, we didn't flip over, I couldn't flip, I could just do bio fives. And I was more vert flips.
Yeah. So by this time you were getting really good at skating, and you started to get some free stuff.
I probably milked that free stuff a bit too much too. Like I would claim I was going through a set of wheels every week or 2 weeks or whatever, and I'd give them to a couple other people, and I'd get a set of skates every two months maybe.
Yeah.
I probably was a bit too greedy.
Right. This would have been around the time of National still being in Auckland, or slightly.
Yeah, well, we went to Melbourne in January.
It was before.
And then Nationals was in April.
Yeah.
So we had our regionals in like a February, March.
In Hamilton.
Yeah, remember that was the regionals too. So Roller Force had closed by then.
Yep.
And we had a regionals in a random warehouse in Sunshine Ave with ramps that were Tim's.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
And Tim had the most progressive ramps and jump boxes and rails. And remember he had that long steep one and then that really long mellow one.
Yep.
On his fun box, and so we just sessioned those all the time.
There at the front of his house.
Yeah.
That was a training facility
it was a training
almost.
Facility,
yeah, that was good. So again, it's someone else. It's not Tim's interview, but that just shows how involved everyone was together, I suppose.
And we were all pushing each other at the time.
Yeah.
Like I was learning a lot of spins into grinds then, and everyone was almost progressing at the same or equal rate.
And I suppose like the same is true for lots of different scenes around New Zealand. But that was sort of why my question was like, who were you close with then? And how did it shape what happened for the rest of your skating?
Well, it was like I said, it was you and Tim, and Bubsy started to drop off. Rob Ting was there.
Yeah.
Jamie Ord was there with his massive oxygens as well.
Yeah.
But going to Australia was almost like I think I stayed on with Pat and a guy called Darren Kitt who had stayed with Napier. And so I skated a lot in Melbourne, and I came back and I was almost like a different person. Like I was like, okay, skating's my thing. I'm dedicating even more of my time to it. And I just remember that first session back. I think there was a Roller Force actually. That was the one in that where Defy was. And I was like, I'm just going to go into this. And I went into it, and on that first session, I think I knocked myself out really good. So I had to have another 8 weeks off or something.
Yeah, well, I was almost going to start asking about that when we were talking about vert skating, because you really did start having some pretty gnarly slams.
Yeah, I had a few concussions then.
Yeah.
I had to get some splinters surgically removed from my ass.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good rant for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Nationals started happening. We started travelling away more. Well, you started travelling away a lot more frequently, and we started staying with other people in other towns and stuff. So everything changed again then too, didn't it?
Yeah, because we were travelling up to Auckland to stay with either the Beagleys or
Yep.
Nick Swain.
Yep.
Nick Swain?
Swan.
Where? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mission Bay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And he'd skate for 2 kilometres before he'd hit that flat rail.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so we started going up and travelling with them. I'm not even sure how we connected with them at the time. But yeah, and then we stayed at Grant's a few times.
We met Matt through Cheapskates because we used to start doing trips there, didn't we?
Yeah, I think
Matt
I met
and
James first.
James, yeah.
Because Matt was younger. Matt
Yeah.
was way younger.
Yeah.
So Matt's the same age as my little sister. So
Yeah.
I think we were then meeting those guys at like 16, 17,
Mhm.
and then Matt would have only been 11.
Yeah, right.
So he was a lot younger. And then at that time as well, like Ben was moving up to Auckland, so we had another connection up there.
Yeah.
Because he came to our regionals on his way up to Auckland.
Yeah.
So that first kind of Oriental markets was almost the birth of a lot of our crew, our extended crew.
So when did you move away from Hamilton?
Not till I was 25, so
Right. Further down the line a little.
way further down the line, like 2005.
Yeah.
So I stayed in Hamilton and still kept skating, and we just travel.
Mm.
Ended up having a skate house. Me and Tim lived together, and then Mickey was living with us too.
That was in Mairoa.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember being on my
Right.
deck one day and then randomly looking up and seeing you in the neighbouring house.
Uh-huh.
Remember?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't tell us you were living there.
Can you think of some of your favourite trips you've had, apart from obviously the ones we've talked about, to Australia?
Favourite skate trips?
Yeah.
I think there's actually been heaps. There's been so many.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
The first X-Air tour
Mm-hmm.
was one of my favourites.
Mm-hmm. Oh, as in the trip to get to X-Air.
To get
Right.
well, that was when X-Air moved from Hamilton to Wellington, and it was the very first one. And you and Scott bought a Holden just to get us down there.
Mm-hmm.
But there were so many memorable quotes and photos, and I'd always had a little clip camera with me, like disposable, so
Yeah.
I always took
Yep.
photos of everything.
Yep.
But that was super memorable. That we met some cool people, we skated some cool spots. I had a broken arm though,
Mm-hmm.
and then injured myself at Tokoroa. No, Tikawiti as well.
A bowl in Tikawiti?
Yeah,
Right.
I had some board shorts on, and
Mhm.
something fell out the bottom of my board shorts, and
Yep.
it was really
Yep.
uncomfortable.
I've got a few more.
But there's other skate trips. I think I went on a really cool one with Tim to Australia for 3 weeks in Brisbane.
Yeah.
We travelled around Brisbane, spent a lot of time with Marlon and Justin Buchanan, just skating everything in Brisbane, and met all that crew and skated a lot of street, and
Mm-hmm.
and then me and Tim took off to the Gold Coast, and then went up to Byron Bay and skated a whole lot of parks there in Ballina, and yeah, that was a cool trip too. But yeah, there's been so many. Every weekend it was Scott and you rocking up at my parents' house or wherever I was to pick me up, to take me up north.
Yeah, he was good for that.
Yeah, that Mazda 323 went everywhere.
Yeah, until it didn't.
Yeah.
Favorite competitions?
I really enjoyed the those few nationals at Oriental Markets.
Yeah,
They almost felt like the big time.
I thought you would say that.
They were really enjoyable. Did you ever feel any competitiveness with me?
I can't remember properly.
Okay.
I probably did.
Because
But,
we were on the same sponsor. We would normally go after each other in the run order.
Oh yeah. To me, it was always always skating against him.
Yeah, well, he wasn't even in our age group then.
Yeah, but that was the bar. The
Yeah.
bar was always going to be set there.
That's right.
But yeah, I think that I agree with you. It's not for me to talk about, but I agree. Like the Oriental Market ones, compared to what we have like X-Air,
Yeah.
they were like pretty special. It was quite
They
a
were.
quite a cool environment.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had a lot of fun.
Yeah, they definitely felt
I don't think
like it was a next level.
I don't think we had cars either then.
No, we would bus up and stay with the Beagleys and bus into the Nationals.
Yeah.
And I feel bad now being an adult looking back because my parents came to every single one of those competitions. They'd always hire an apartment, stay somewhere nice.
Yeah.
And I'd ditch them to sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
Just to hang out with everyone.
Funny. That's cool. Maybe I do remember seeing them there, but...
they went to every single one every year, and they were there from the morning till night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the first one sucked. I skated terribly. I had big knee pads on. I was still a vert skater.
Right.
The second one was then when I was sponsored by Rollerblade, and I think I did a lot better that one. But I also gone up to skate the Arlo rail during the break. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I fell off halfway, grazed the fuck out of my knees. Yeah.
Big, steep. Yeah.
And I was skating in shorts, which breaks Isaac's rules, but I had these really cool 976 shorts and I fell off halfway and had to go see St. John's, and they bandaged the fuck out of my knees just so I could keep riding.
What was easy for you skating wise, and what was difficult?
It's a good question.
It's a bit of a strange question, but
yeah,
I imagine most people have an answer for what was difficult.
Mini ramp and transition were easy for me, like because I was born a vert skater.
Naturally transitions.
Yeah, I just love skating a mini ramp. It was weird things like Elliot Fishbrains felt more comfortable to me than doing a back rail. Like
yeah.
I just.
You always did those.
Yeah, like I
you always had those.
But then like some rail tricks, like I always struggled doing. Like I could spin into a rail, but I could never just do like straight Elliot tricks on rails very well.
Yeah.
I really never found my place with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I could do some of it, but I was never very confident at it.
Yeah. Didn't come easy like some of the other people we know. Was there anything that you really battled with? Like really struggled but really wanted to get? Because I can name some. For you, I mean.
I think I battled with a lot of shit, didn't I?
Yeah.
But I'd always battle, like no tricks ever really came overly easy, especially street skating. Like, I think I found gaps easier.
Right.
On street. I think that might be the transition jumping stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I used to love the art gallery double set.
Yeah, you did skate that a lot.
Yeah, I used to do switch spins down that. I used to do all sorts of stupid shit down there.
I remember you trying 720s a lot on vert.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, and like all kinds of things going wrong with them until you finally got them. But
I got them, and then I did them different ways every time. So I'd do like a McTwist version, and then I'd do a straight version. It was never ever the same.
Yeah.
But I didn't really ever, like I could do it, but I never really felt like I owned the trick.
This is the way I do it.
Yeah.
I do actually remember you doing them on a mini ramp and completely knocking yourself out, taking you to the hospital, and we had to write on your arm what you did. And then when you would read it every 15 minutes, you would say, I can't do that trick. Like, well, this is why you're in the hospital. This is why you have a severe concussion and you can't remember because that's what you were trying. And then 15 minutes later, it'll be the same thing. Look at your arm. So yeah, that was one of the ones that I remember.
And I do remember driving home because it was Tasha's car, wasn't it? It was late in the morning. You guys were all pissed off at me in the back, and I kept picking up the same pair of shoes in the front seat.
Yeah, I think it was with Tash.
Yeah. That was Hamish's fault, actually.
Right.
Because he said to chuck a Liu Kang in it.
Yeah.
And I think I was midway through spinning and I'd doing a safety grab and I'm like, chuck a Liu Kang in it.
If you're able to, can you name 2 favourite skaters locally, I mean like New Zealand and internationally that have had an impact or an influence on you early on and now, and why? So
internationally, my first one would be Dion Anthony.
You might say that.
Because I was just such a fan of his skating, his style, his whole... He had like a real cool look.
Yeah.
Like he didn't really care, but he had this kind of classical bloody Doors.
The Doors.
Jim Morrison look.
Yeah.
And I was really into the Doors at the time and like old music and he could slide out of anything and
transition again.
Transition again. He had these clean fives where he'd get them bio, but then he could spin fives the other way too. So I thought it was really progressive. So I liked him internationally.
Yeah.
And then Dustin Latimer.
He was Australian.
He was Australian,
yeah.
And then Dustin Latimer was the other one. And nationally,
Fiji. Dustin Latimer from
was it VG6?
6, 7?
Yeah, I own VG6 and I burnt the tape out.
Yeah.
I watched that all the time.
Yeah.
I liked the Australian section because it almost felt like I felt proud, like it was almost us.
Yeah.
But never was. And then nationally, I was always a big fan of Tim. He's going to hate me saying this shit too, but like he was the first dude I ever saw skating rails really well. Like the first ever street skate I went was those white church rails in Dinsdale, around the corner from your house. And they were steep, they were small, they were quite low. And it had that shitty grass on the other side and been raining.
Rough concrete
as well. But he was doing switchback unities before anyone could even unity.
There's footage of that somewhere. I remember seeing
it's unreal. So he was my favourite New Zealand skater.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had another favourite. I guess I just liked all my mates too.
That's that Hamilton crew thing again, really.
Yeah.
I guess.
You got super stoked. It's weird, we were talking about this today, being a parent.
Yeah.
You get stoked and live vicariously through your kids.
Yeah.
I also did that through all my skating mates.
Yeah.
You'd celebrate their rail they landed just like you would your own.
Yeah, that's true. And that's valuable too. That's cool. So I don't know if I'm ready to ask that question yet.
You're driving the bus.
Yeah.
I just hope the mic's on.
You're basically fucked. You've smashed your head so many times. Your knees are not going to take any more impact. Do you feel like you've quit? Because you've quit. We can say that now. You've actually formally quit. Do you feel like you quit at the right time?
A couple of years earlier would have been a good idea.
But in saying that, do you feel like you would have missed out on those couple of years? Like, I guess what I'm saying is, was it worth it to go as long as you have? Or
well, I guess when I had my big head injury, then I did quit for a period of time. So I was only just dipping my toes back in the water.
Right. So you feel like you did just kind of pack it in.
I did kind of pack it in. It took me 3 years after that to skate again. And when I did, I think I skated once with Aaron Martin and put an edit together. It was only I skated for literally half an hour and then I put them off. And then during lockdown, I borrowed a grind box from Aaron and I mucked around on that and I enjoyed that. And then I put them away again. And then because I just don't trust myself. So I could never just go, I'll just go and cruise around or I'll just go skate a mini, and I'm not, if I'm gonna do it, I want to try my best.
So you knew
I want to see if I could, what I could still do, and what I was still capable of. And not that I was ever capable of great things, but I always felt like I had certain tricks on lock that I could do or pull out of the bag or surprise myself and challenge myself.
Yeah.
So I kind of, having an injury is a natural end.
That kind of injury, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the leg injury is a struggle to walk one.
But the head's sort of a decision of, it was pretty severe.
Yeah, it was. It was having to teach yourself. That was teaching yourself to walk again. That was teaching your eyes and ears to work again, because they're all out of alignment with vestibular issues, and that's also real challenging because you don't, even when I get fatigued or tired, I notice the head, because I've still got the concussion, but the head, when I get really tired, I don't feel like my brain functions. So sometimes I have to excuse myself from certain situations because I just don't feel like I can contribute or I'm capable to be involved. Yeah. But that's only a cause of stress and tiredness. But that's a real interesting one because you go through a whole lot of withdrawals because skating gives you an element of dopamine that you can survive on. So I could have a good skate where I felt like I filmed a cool trick. And it's not filming for other people, it's filming for myself. And I could live off that for a week or two on a high.
Yeah. Gets you to the next session.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So it's learning to live without that.
Yeah, and Ronan's great for that, isn't he?
Well, Ronan is, but also just being involved in stuff.
Yeah.
So being involved in stuff makes me happy now.
Yeah, so that's a good lead into... well, maybe not a good lead into that question, but... Did you ever think that that skating for yourself or the industry in New Zealand might have taken you further than what we were doing?
I did.
Did that question make sense?
It did, yeah. Well, it was like I was watching a lot of ASAs and I'd record everything on TV, and I'm sure it was like the 98. There was a whole big ASA tour, and that's when Defy was really popping off, and I was riding Defy really well. You know, like I could link all my tricks really well.
Yeah.
I was doing big fives and quarter pipes and had a lot of tech grinds and switch grinds, and I finished school. I was first year studying, and I thought, hey, I could maybe I just want to try my luck. But the biggest barrier to that was actually yourself. You had to push yourself out of your comfort zone and try to save money and go and do it yourself. Yeah. Because no one was ever going to do it for you.
No.
So yeah.
And it wasn't going to come to you, I guess.
No.
Yeah.
No, we all had sponsors at the time. I think I was sponsored by Rosie's
But it was just getting free stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. Like I think I was getting free shin guards, free wheels, free skates.
No one was going to put you on a plane to Australia.
No. And it wasn't even going to Australia, it was going to America. You had to go to America, otherwise it didn't count. But yeah, I would have loved to have gone and given it a go, but also on the other side, I wouldn't have known what to do or how to do or where to go. There was no almost senior statesman to help and guide. Because we only had Scott.
Yeah.
And Scott really wasn't in our scene at that time.
No.
He came a little bit later.
Yeah, he did. Well, that's an interesting answer to that question. Because, you know, I guess you either just skate in New Zealand and you're happy with that, or you go and do something like Sax done, which may or may not even lead into something else. But it was always that was my point of the question, was like, I guess it's kind of a question for anyone that's in the New Zealand scene. Is like, what do you think is going to happen? Or is it just is this just a hobby? Or because to me, like over the years, I think that there's been numerous people that had the potential to possibly, with a bit of extra drive and like the right connections and the ability to travel, like we talked about, who could have done that.
Well, I think you're in that case as well.
Especially earlier in the history of New Zealand's rollerblading. So that was why the question was there.
I mean, the getting the free stuff was almost the pinnacle, though, of our skating careers in New Zealand. Yeah. Like, there wasn't a lot else.
Something I struggle with is explaining or surmising the difference between the scene now, as in the last sort of four years, I guess, and the scene 15 years ago. It doesn't seem complete to just say that it's that the shit that
do you mind letting me talk out?
it doesn't seem enough of an explanation to say that the scene's just shrunken in size. So what's
just leave the door open?
So what's happened to it? What do you think's happened to it?
Well, so it was super interesting because all of this kind of happened with the demise of skate shops and skate products in New Zealand, because the scene started to get progressively smaller when there wasn't product readily available.
So we agree that the scene's got smaller?
Yeah, 100% it's got smaller.
Okay, that's settled. Okay.
So yeah, I think it's when the birth of the internet products stop getting sold, like the latest and greatest, and that's always going to be a struggle for New Zealand because we're at the arse end of nowhere. So everyone wants the latest and greatest products, and you can only get that if you buy it from the source or from the States.
Yeah.
And so a lot of purchases went online.
Mm.
And so that's when a lot of the sponsorships dried up because there wasn't product available. And that's when a lot of the scene also dried up because people weren't getting free stuff. That wasn't that aspirational path to, hey, getting free shit. So a lot of people fell away and dropped off.
Do you think that because I don't completely agree with that's what's happened. Like I still think that the people I see that are still skating, and I don't go to a lot of skate comps, I don't go traveling like we used to, but there's still people doing it, and they're not, and they haven't stopped because, and I don't think that the people that have stopped because they couldn't get access to stuff or they didn't think that they would ever have the possibility of getting free stuff, but that's kind of why I was asking the question, like, is it just that people have grown up and gone on to different things in their lives, or has the buzz gone?
Well, I think there's a combination of stuff, because you're not bringing any new people through.
Why not?
If they can't find product, or they don't know about it, or it's less visible, or like your only exposure to rollerblading now is if you see a rollerblader at the skate park and you ask why they're riding on roller skates.
Yeah.
Like every kid goes, why are you riding on those roller skates?
So the boom...
Are you good on those roller skates?
Right, so the boom in like the 90s and the early 2000s came because there were people doing it at parks. Okay. Right.
But also rollerblades were everywhere. You could buy them everywhere.
Yeah.
You had them at Sterling Sports. You had them at all the sports shops. Like, there was no specialist skate shops back then because it wasn't specialist. It was a mass market product.
Yeah. So that being said, it's just gonna fizzle. It's all gonna fizzle out soon.
Well, who knows?
Well, that's what I'm trying to ask you. Like, do you think it's gonna or not?
No, I don't think it's going to fizzle out. Because
So
I think there's a dedicated group of people that do it and enjoy it.
Okay, but a lot of them are getting older.
A lot of them are, but also a lot of them are. Some of them are bringing their kids through, introducing their kids to it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to be the saving grace of rollerblading, but more eyes on rollerblading may be the saving grace of rollerblading. I think people like Calvin who are motivated, who have started shops and they create a healthy scene, a healthy culture.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say as well. Like, if there's a scene there, and it's available. So a lot of things have to come together to keep
to make
it going.
it work. Yeah.
Right.
But I do think at the moment there's a whole lot of dedicated individuals that still skate. There's not even dedicated individuals. Well, there are dedicated individuals that don't skate that are still involved. Like, when's the last time you saw Scott put a pair of skates on?
Yeah, but he's the example I'm talking about of someone who's got old and gone away from it.
He's gone away from skating, but he's always there to support. He goes to every most meets. Like, he's always travelled and gone to things. And you know, Aaron Taylor hasn't skated in a gazillion years. He hasn't done a sweat stance in a gazillion years, but he still goes to most things.
Yeah, and I guess
So that's the scene and the people.
Yeah, and you're a good example of this because you're going to be involved for as far as I can imagine. Because what I'd written down was, granted, once a skater, you're always a skater. It applies to you quite aptly. What happens now, and what do you hope for yourself firstly, and then the scene?
I just want to be involved. I want to keep doing shit.
Like?
Anything. Like, you know, us doing a podcast gives a place for the stories of New Zealand rollerbladers to live on for a bit. Through our 108 subscribers or whatever it is. And our 100 average views or whatever it is.
From your kitchen table.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I enjoyed organising the Sunskate titles last year. I've always organised events and judged shit anyway.
Yep.
Like, even the first time I knocked myself out, we still had organised a OG meet then, and then we organised the Nationals the year after, which cost me a bit of money because a whole lot of people didn't turn up. But, you know, like, I think I'm always going to be involved. I consume a lot of blade media still, and I think I'll always do that. I think I've done that for getting in trouble, but, you know, like, working with Isaac on a full-length skate video.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily doing all the filming, but I'll be doing a lot of the editing with Isaac.
Yeah.
So I think there's always stuff I can get involved in, and being involved in Exia as well. I can help champion the cause of rollerblading.
Right.
So there's heaps of ways that I can still be involved and still be a rollerblader.
Yeah.
Without necessarily having to do it.
Yeah, that's good. I never doubted it would be. I'm glad you're optimistic about it.
Yeah.
When you, this is kind of a backtrack question, but when I think I missed it. When do you feel like your skating peaked, and what happened after that point?
I think my skating peaked with my white fifth elements at Defy.
Oh, that's a long time.
It was a long time. Well, I had so many tricks and so many tricks on lock, and I felt I was my best then. I felt like anything I could think up I could do.
It's a long time ago.
It was, yeah. But then I also conversely spent a long time thinking I was old because I was older than some of the other people coming up.
Yeah.
And I think then that hampered my skating ability or my want or desire to do things, because I started to develop a career at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I restricted myself.
Yeah.
I think when I came back into skating after breaking my elbow, I had like 3 years off because I had a big major break and couldn't pick up my daughter for 6 months. When I came back into skating, I came back into skating with an understanding of my body, so I actually progressed a lot more then. So I've almost had 2 peaks. I've had one peak, which was that Defy era, and then I had my second peak into my mid to late 30s. Probably my mid 30s.
So now you're kind of mainly focused on, well, at the moment you're working a lot with Steve.
Well, not just yet, no.
Not yet.
But I will be, yeah.
You will be. You're involved with scootering.
Yeah.
Pretty heavily.
Yeah.
You're a president.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny how that's come about. But that's come about, so when I injured my leg this year, I had just started working with Aaron on the Sunskate titles, and that was an all sports event. So skateboarding, scootering, rollerblading, BMX. I said skateboarding, yeah. And so then post that, a couple of the guys involved in scootering, so Bucky and Dean Calland, who look after FRS, which is the Freestyle Roller Sports New Zealand Association. They manage scootering in the country and represent scootering as a governing body. They asked me to be involved. I said, okay, what does it all entail? And so I got involved in that, and I've been enjoying it. It's a real interesting parallel to where rollerblading was at some point. Yeah. But they've got a very professional looking organisation. It looks good from the outset. They've got an opportunity to have a voice. Already had a number of meetings with Sport New Zealand. And they've got their annual nationals in January. Yeah. And it just so happens that my son is mad into scootering and I want to support him. So, it's been helpful to be able to support him and create events that he can be involved in and he can ride and he can enjoy.
So what's coming up next?
For me?
Yeah. In the scene?
In the rollerblading scene?
Yeah.
That'd be Tim's Blade Jam in the new year. I can't confirm or deny the dates because that's him. Yeah. I've just done what I do best, I guess, and chase people down and try to get sponsors. Yeah. But he's the main organiser. Yeah. And I'm just a supporter. Cool. And then Exia will be post that. Yeah. Just waiting on dates for that, but there's a few cool things in the works. Yeah.
Fairly extensive planning and discussions there.
I can probably. I don't know. Do I elaborate on that sort of shit?
Well, maybe you leave it for.
Yeah, there's some cool shit though.
Yeah, there is. It sounds like a lot of work's being put in.
Not so much as yet, but I reckon if it all works the way that it should work, then we're going to have the biggest competition in blading that we've seen in a long time. A lot of the. If we can pull it off, having some of the best riders in the world in New Zealand makes it a real competition. Not a real competition because we have those now, but makes it exciting for everyone to be involved in and also watch. And I think our scene's pretty healthy. Like And the Sunskate titles was really impressive to watch. The level of skating far exceeded what I thought it was going to.
Yep.
The level of broken bones exceeded what I thought it was going to.
It'll be interesting to see what happens at X here.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason for that was that opportunity to get into X here as well.
Yeah.
It's something we haven't had for a while, so that was certainly a motivating factor for those that were here. But we are filled with a lot of imports as well in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it was just cool to see them level up as well.
If X here happens and it all comes together,
sure.
I wonder if it's going to be the same buzz as it was in the past if it's in Wellington.
It will also be different because our motivation isn't to get drunk and try to pull girls because we're all married and have kids.
Yep.
It's probably
some
just
of us are.
yeah, it's probably just going to be to hang out and get drunk anyway and go home, go to bed and rest our achy bones.
Well, I don't have any more questions, but have you got anything that you want to say? Have you got anyone you want to thank?
Well, I want to thank you.
Well, yeah, but that happens all the time.
I do want to thank blading because
Yep.
blading's formed my life. Like I met my wife because blading. Like when
true.
we moved to Auckland, if it wasn't for blading,
Yep.
I'd have been stuck in Hamilton.
Yep.
Like I've always had my core group of mates, like the cave crew, effectively. We still talk on a regular basis. We still hang out as often as we can. Our kids are friends, which is pretty bloody cool. Like, there's not a lot of people that can say that shit.
Yeah, it's a pretty good form of glue, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sticks the scene together.
And, regardless of my ability to walk, like, I've still got my friends.
You're walking all right today.
Yeah, not too bad. Sorted.
Minimal complaining.
Yeah. There's a bit of painkillers involved in getting around, but yeah. So I'm still a hugely fiendishly geeky old rollerblader. I think that's not going to change.
It must kind of be sort of, in a way, hard to watch it all happening when you've made the decision not to do it anymore, or is it satisfying enough to know that you've done that and that you're still a part of it, but just in a different way?
Well, I think I'm at peace with where I'm at.
Right.
But also, like, I feel in my later years, like, I've got a lot to reminisce over. So, like, I've got into filming myself using a GoPro, having footage, not for anyone else, but for myself. So I've got lots of little reminders of what I used to be able to do.
That's a good point.
Where I didn't have any of that as a kid.
Yeah.
So when you're at the peak of your powers, effectively, you don't have any footage because we never filmed anything.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about that today, actually.
Like the amount of shit we used to jump and the rails we used to do with the drops on the other side, and we didn't film a single thing. It was just doing it for the sheer motivation of doing it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's tied into the question about how the scenes change as well. It's like, it's not. It is, and I think you were saying it as well about some of the scooter crews as well. Like not their main goal, obviously, because their main goal is to just do the same stuff that anyone was doing, but it's enough for them to have an Instagram account updated of themselves daily, or rather than, we didn't even have that when you were skating when you were younger. It was just going out and doing it.
Yeah.
So that's a major difference.
The gram is a big difference.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. I'm just saying, like,
I think it's certainly got its place.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's still, even on the gram, like, there's certain dudes I wish would post more, or I'd love to see more clips of, because you can't get out as often when you've got children and activities, and like, I'd love to see Isaac post more, because I know he kills it, and I know that his outtakes are better than everyone else's main clips, but it's definitely got a place. I don't know where I was going with that answer. But yeah, I do like rollerblading.
Good.
I want to thank everyone for rollerblading.
Rollerblading wants
I
to
wish
thank
you would skate more.
Yeah.
I do wish Scott would pick up a pair of skates again.
Yeah, well, he's got a skate park in Papamoa now, so there's no excuse. You have to start skating again.
And I am keen to bring more stories to light through this medium. Yeah,
well, the more we can arrange to be in the same house together, this house, because I just come and invade you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, the more we can do. So, good talk.
Yeah.
Is this the end?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think so.
Yep. No, there's no announcement on when we'll be doing
No.
another one. We just don't know. We, like I said, we were going to do one tonight with Isaac, but that may have to wait till another date.
I think we could talk about who we want to get on that.
Well, we've almost got a working list.
Yeah.
So it's just about working the dates. So.
And I think we just need more people to be willing to put themselves out there, because actually it's not a scary thing. You're just talking to your mates.
Yeah, and actually we could structure it so they don't have to be, we were getting up to like an hour or 2 hour mark.
2 hour mark, yeah.
So they don't need to be like that,
That's quite a bit of editing work.
We can fit them in whenever, so even if we're at an event, we could find the time to tuck one in somewhere. So watch out.
Yeah, we're coming for you. Not naming any names.
Okay. This is where we clap again.
Later.
Parents are very strict. Where you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?